Now, are you one of those people who want to have their cake and eat it too? You are? Well, the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid seems to be the perfect crossover SUV for you. But some people might have found it to be a little bit boring, a little bit more tepid. This time around, GRS gave it a little bit more of its GRS flavor. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we're going to show you some crossover SUV that wants to be both green and economical, but at the same time, sporty and racy. This is the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS. So firstly, let's start with the most obvious change to the Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS. So in the front end, gone are those chamfered edges right here that kind of resemble some sort of cutaway that, to be honest, I was kind of iffy about that. If you don't believe me, head on over to this link right here to that review. So now this time around, you've got this huge blacked out grille, which I think is really sweet. Sweet because you got this honeycomb grille design right here on the upper section of the grille as well as the lower section. Now, people usually connotate Toyota hybrids with the color blue. As you saw with the Toyota Corolla Altis Hybrid and the Corolla Cross Hybrid, you've got those blue badges and of course those blue streaks on the headlamps. So this time around, they've taken it away because blue is not red. Red for GRS. So what you've got here instead is a blacked out Toyota badge, and they've removed those blue streaks on the headlamps. Now underneath right here, you've got this silver looking trim that gives it a more macho appeal overall. And I'm just glad that they took away any chrome bits in the front here and actually have these LED headlamps as well as fog lamps. These fog lamps, by the way, seem to be housed in the same design language as the Fortuner. So if you want to have a Fortuner but don't want to get a diesel and want something smaller, probably the Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS might be your cup of tea. Now, the side profile of the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS still features a lot of similarities with the regular Corolla Cross Hybrid, but this time around, it's sleeker. It's more mature. You can still see those arrow-shaped hunches on the front fender as well as the rear, giving it a, like I said, muscular appeal overall. But one thing that's really changed here is this two-tone look. This, by the way, is this pearl white color, which will add a little bit more extra that we'll be discussing later on. But hey, check this out. The bottom part of the Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS features those nice 18-inch alloy wheels. Those are GRS alloy wheels that are specifically made for the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS. And I think it really looks great. It really sets you apart from the regular version of this car. And unlike other variants in the Toyota line, it doesn't share a lot of the parts there with the regular variant. I also like how they changed the black plastic cladding right here below the doors. They've added a little bit more silver trim right there. And yeah, the only chrome part that you'd find in this car is still right here. It says Corolla Cross, and I'm glad that that's the only chrome trim right here. Otherwise, I'm going on strike. Now, if you love the front end, you're absolutely gonna adore the rear here. Now, back in the 90s and early 2000s, there used to be this car, a Lexus, that had revolutionary tail lamps because it absolutely had no color in them. The only color that you'd find are on the bulbs and on the turn signals, and it had this clear housing. They transferred over and found inspiration on the Altezza and gave it to the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. Now, there are some people who don't like that particular design, but I absolutely love it, and I wish more Toyota and Lexus cars would apply them to their more modern vehicles. And the thing that I love about this in the Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS is that apart from being clear colored, there's some sort of smoke tinge to it that gives it a more cohesive design, especially with the two-tone look up top and right at the bottom. Speaking of the bottom, you still have your black plastic cladding right here, and it's thicker and more robust. Just don't expect to take this off-roading because it's just there for the looks, which most people would definitely appreciate. Now, apart from the hybrid badge, of course, you've got your GR Sport badge right there. That alone is worth the cost of admission. I'm still iffy about the badge here though. The Corolla Cross badge is kind of offset to the left side, but that's okay. One of the first mechanical upgrades of the GRS over the normal Corolla Cross Hybrid is this, of course. So haters might say that the GRS badge is just there for show, But here you got your power tailgate. I can't stress how important enough this feature is, especially in crossover SUVs, because the main reason you get a crossover in the first place is because of practicality. And this definitely has just that. Now, apart from having a power liftgate, this also has a kick feature, so that whenever your hands are full of carrying groceries, you can just simply do a quick kick. There you go. Nifty. Now, inside the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS still offers pretty much the same as the normal Corolla Cross Hybrid. Still have a lot of black hard touch plastics here. You do get a nice center armrest, your black headliner, your visors with vanity mirror and vanity light. Pretty much everything's the same except for the seats. The seats do offer GR badging there, and it's more, well, it's a little bit more comfortable to sit in, and thanks to these bolsters, you're safe and secure inside. Nothing of note really, but that's the one thing that I actually like about the normal Corolla Cross Hybrid in the first place. Your leather steering wheel, your cruise control buttons here, and your media control buttons and call buttons on the left side. Now, speaking of this huge touchscreen, this is not just for infotainment. You can actually check out some details about your car, especially when you're charging. The battery in this hybrid, if you're into data and information during your drive, you can see it right there through the energy monitor screen. You also have a digital display right here, so that it can give you all the information that you need, especially for your trip meter. You have your details about your Toyota safety sense features that are on, and it's all good. Also, the shifter is easy to reach and pretty low. It's pretty slung low right here, by the way. On top of the shifter, you've got 3 buttons. First is the drive mode. Once you click on drive mode, you can select between normal, power, and eco. I usually don't use eco in these cars, but if you're into playing games with yourself, trying to reach the best possible fuel efficiency, eco's your game, but I usually leave it to power or even to normal. You can even turn off traction control, and if you have enough charge on your battery on your EV, switch to EV mode and enjoy driving without any fuel at all. Now, a few things that I noticed here is that you got 2 cup holders right here in the middle next to the armrest, but they're really small. So if you have any large bottles or large cups, they barely fit in there, but you do have bottle holders as well on the side door panels. All right. Yep, again, it's fairly basic, fairly nice. You definitely appreciate the interior design that you've given to the Corolla Cross Hybrid. This still looks like the Toyota Corolla Altis, which of course they say the same platform. Here's the thing though, of all the tech that you have here, you got your USB ports, you got your EV mode, your display, there's still one thing that I find iffy that was actually transferred over from the Corolla Cross. You still have your old school foot brake right there. Now, instead of getting that regular traditional handbrake or an electronic parking brake, you get that. Now, because you do have that foot brake, you don't get automatic brake hold and all those things that you really love, especially with modern cars. So I wish Toyota would transfer over the electronic parking brake from other markets into the next iterations of the Corolla Cross. And again, this is just nitpicking. I probably can live without it. But again, it really doesn't fit the entire modern or postmodern or high-tech feel of the entire car. Let's check out the back. All right, wow, and then this is a hallmark of Toyota's cars, especially their passenger cars and the Corolla itself. You got a lot of space for your passengers, especially in the rear. Now, I'm sitting behind my ideal driving position here, and I still have a lot of knee room and leg room and room for my feet to jostle around right there below. And it's nice. The front seats are actually curved in a way and ergonomic for you to actually fit your legs. So even though you're a tall person, I myself, I'm 5'10.5", and even 6 feet. If you're 6 feet, you can definitely fit behind here. You don't have any map pockets for the left rear passenger, but the right one does have it. Now, there's a lot of toys to play with, especially for the rear passenger here. You got 2 USB ports right there, although they're positioned way below right here, but I guess it's for you to get out of the way so you can see it. But just reaching for those USB ports is quite a chore. You do have rear AC vents, blast cool air all the way to the back, our legs right here, so that's fine, that's great. You also have a nice cup holder here by the door panel, so even though you're bringing a lot of cups, you need to stay hydrated during the warm season, you got them. The center tunnel isn't actually that bad. It's not that high. Considering that this is a hybrid with a battery right there below, it still actually just gives some space inside, which I really like. Now, these seats, they actually fold in a 60-40 configuration. Now, the thing about these rear seats is that when they fall down flat. But what happens is that it creates some sort of ridge between the second row seats and the rear cargo space. Again, probably because of that battery. Now, once you do that though, creating a flat space here in the back would have been helpful if you have any long items and large heavy items, and it won't jostle around while you're driving. But you just got to keep that in mind, especially when you're folding these seats flat down. Overall, it's a nice place to be in. I've got a lot of headroom right here, and it's not very claustrophobic at all. These windows are fairly large, and I really love sitting behind here. But that's not why we're here. Let's go ahead and get back to the driver's seat and see how this hybrid GRS drives. All right, so we're behind the wheel of the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS. Now, just like the normal Corolla Cross Hybrid, as soon as you hit this, oh, by the way, this start-stop button has a GR badge on it. As soon as you hit that start-stop button, it's gonna be a different feeling because you won't feel any startup sounds or engine sounds at all. It's as if you haven't started the engine just yet. But once you get up to speed, then you realize that the electric motor is the one doing all the business moving forward. Now, under the hood, you've got the 2ZR FXE. It's a 1.8 liter Atkinson cycle internal combustion engine, and it's mated to an electric motor. That's the hybrid motor right there. Overall, equivalent power output gives you 121 horsepower and 207 newton meters of torque, which is above average, which is more than usual that you'd find in these types of crossover SUVs. Probably gonna have to put a turbo in these engines if you want to get close to that kind of power or even more. Now, with those power figures, it's definitely more than what you need to get yourself going in the city and on the highway. It's a really peppy engine, I gotta say, especially when you set it to sport mode or power mode, as what they call it. Since we're talking about those drive modes, let's go ahead and discuss all of those three. There are three modes: Eco, Power, and your normal mode. So when set it to Eco, throttle response will be muted, and you'll definitely be driving in a really sedate kind of way. If you're really into just normal city driving or during traffic where you don't need a lot of acceleration, yeah, that's definitely fine and it can definitely work for you. Normal's the basic. Of course, it's gonna put everything into its place, but hey, once you set it to power mode, the multi-information display right here between the gauges will turn red, and it's going to use as much power as it can to utilize all 121 horsepower and 207 newton meters of torque, either a combination of the internal combustion engine and the electric motor, whichever is best during the situation, and you definitely feel it. Speaking of feel, Toyota claims that this GRS variant of the Corolla Cross has some mechanical improvements over the normal one. For starters, it has GRS suspension. So this still has McPherson struts up front and a torsion bar rear suspension right there, but they're now GRS tuned to give you less body roll, especially around the bends. And on our way up here to the shooting location, you can definitely feel it. I don't know if it's a placebo effect once I got to know that, but even the electronic power steering has been tuned to be more responsive and gives you more road feel. And given that this is a crossover SUV, it's still not going to be as, responsive or have as much road feel as a sedan or a hatchback, but it's certainly improved over the vanilla Corolla Cross Hybrid. NVH levels they're all right. This still is a Corolla after all, and it's no luxury car, but thanks to improved sound insulation and the use of stiffer suspension, you can definitely have a more solid feel, especially on the road. Road noise is still there, especially in the tires. You got 18-inch tires with lower profile tires than the entry-level Corolla Cross. And of course, you got a hybrid motor, so engine noise is definitely kept at a very minimum. So we've discussed that powertrain, the hybrid powertrain, in our previous video. Visit our link, it's in the description below if you want to know more about how that works. Fuel economy is relatively, well, exactly the same actually. But in my time with this one here, I've actually learned how to drive these hybrid cars. And after learning how to drive these types of cars, yeah, I can definitely get better fuel economy. In the city, I get around 18 kilometers per liter. And on the highway, once we get to open this thing up, 26 kilometers per liter on the highway. So safety is pretty much the same with the normal Corolla Cross Hybrid. You've got multiple airbags, ABS with the electronic brake force distribution. You also have stability control and hill start assist. But Toyota Safety Sense, yeah, it also has that. You got lane keep assist. You also have forward collision mitigation systems. And of course, dynamic cruise control or radar cruise control, where instead of having normal cruise control where you're set to 1 speed, it actually detects all the cars around it in front and the back and adjusts its speed accordingly. And I gotta say, that in itself is worth the price of admission getting this car. Speaking of price, the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS is available at 1,774,000 pesos. Now that price might quite be a little bit more than the normal Corolla Cross, which is available at 1,665,000 pesos, and the entry level, which is a non-hybrid, at 1,303,000. But you got to consider the additions that you get with this over the normal Corolla Cross Hybrid, like the performance suspension, the improved suspension and handling. You also have the power tailgate with kick feature, which I really like. And of course, the kit that's available around the Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS that in my opinion, really improves the overall look of the car. So if you love the Corolla Cross, if you're into the whole Toyota thing and Toyota Hybrid, it's great to consider getting a Corolla Cross Hybrid that has improved, in my opinion, exterior features. For the kit alone, especially for the GRS badge, that's just something else. If you want to see how the Corolla Cross Hybrid compares against the more popular option out there, the Toyota Fortuner, check out our description below. There's going to be a link there to our comparison between this and the Fortuner diesel. So there you have it, boys and girls, the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid GRS. What do you think? Well, here's what I think. Here are 3 things that I like and don't like about it. Let's start with the negatives. First of all, you've got that old school foot brake that's on the left side of the your footwell on your driver's seat. Now, instead of having a handbrake or an electronic parking brake, you get that odd looking, kind of, really old school looking foot brake right there. I wish Toyota could have given it that at least an electronic parking brake that's easy to access. Second thing I don't like about it is, although you've got a large touchscreen infotainment system, for the life of me, I can't connect my phone to it. If you have any tips or suggestions, drop me a comment in the comment section down below. So thirdly, this is pretty much nitpicking at this point, but I don't like how the seats fold down flat on the second row right there, but there seems to be a ledge of some sorts, but that's because of the battery being in the way, so you won't be able to fold it completely flat with the rear cargo bay. But again, that's just nitpicking, because here are the 3 things that I love about it. Obviously, because this is a hybrid, I love the fuel economy that you're getting out of the Corolla Cross GRS. In these days of really high oil prices, it's nice to know that there are some companies out there that really want to make an effort to help you save up on fuel. Secondly, I love the updates that they've done to this to make the Corolla Cross a little less boring, less normal looking, and a lot more racy and sporty, especially when going down the road. It definitely is a head turner, guys, and you gotta see this in the metal to believe it. Third, I love the space inside. Now, even though you have that battery underneath the second row seats, it still offers you a lot of space. This is still a crossover SUV after all, and as a prerequisite, you definitely have to have a lot of space inside if you want buyers to get this car. That's pretty much it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, leave us a like right there and subscribe to our channel, hit that notification icon. But I want to know what you think. Drop us a comment in the comment section there, and I'm sure that I'm going to answer some of your questions, at least during the first 3 days of posting this video. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I'll see you guys next time. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.